Well, welcome back to the Canadian Virtual Recruiters Conference. Hope you're enjoying today's event. We've got about 30 minutes left in the event. We actually tack on an extra 10 minutes for you to network. And if you've missed out on anything through the expo area or you want to do some last minute networking, you're welcome to do that. If you'd like also to put your contact information in the event or in the stage area, happy to give you a shout out as well if you'd like. And we have a great opportunity now to have a chat with Sammy, and we're going to spend the next half hour talking about best practices in hiring. So first off, I can do a quick introduction here. Sammy Shuheibar is talent acquisition specialist at global projects at Ausenco. And thanks very much for being on here, Sammy.
Thank you, Marc. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
So maybe we can start just if you want to introduce yourself, tell the viewers a little bit about what you do, the kind of recruitment that you're involved with, kinds of roles that you fill, and so on.
Sure. Well, I joined Ausenco about 8 weeks ago, and we are a global company that redefines what's possible in the market. So our team is based in 26 offices, 14 countries, with projects in more than 80 locations around the globe. So we are technical experts, with a track record of 30 plus years of breaking new ground. And we deliver innovative solutions through high value added consulting studies, project execution, asset operation, and maintenance optimization, specifically in the mining and metals, energy and industrial sectors. So, we constantly, we're growing constantly here day by day, specifically in North America. So Ausenco has two parts to the business, the global project side and the base business side. So I manage recruitment for the global project side, and we're currently having so many vacant roles, but specifically, we look for, professional engineers in the mining and metals sector. We operate all over the world, as I mentioned. Ausenco is an Australian-based company, and we have, projects in Mexico, in Peru, in Chile, here in Canada, in the US, Australia, and parts of South Africa. So this is what we do. Yeah.
Terrific. And you're in the Greater Toronto area?
Correct. I'm in Toronto, yeah.
Terrific. Okay, so if you have any questions for Sammy, anything you want to talk about, by all means, put them in the chat, and I'm going to be happy to moderate. So we're going to spend the remaining 25 minutes or so, Sammy, just talking about 10 best practices. And I'm curious to get your feedback on it. These are some that I come up with just from different articles and different my own perspectives as well on the recruiting side. So number one is, and so just feel free, whatever comes to your mind, whatever's happening within your organization. So learning to be more adaptable. I mean, obviously during the pandemic, it's been important for companies to be adaptable, to allow people to work from home. Maybe they didn't allow them before. So maybe talk about what accommodations perhaps your company has done, or when you're trying to recruit people, what changes or concessions maybe that you've made that you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic has affected all of us for the last year, at least for now. So I guess with things opening up here in Canada, specifically in Ontario, starting on the 14th, Ausenco is being very flexible, with keeping their employees working from home and partly in the office. So you can have like half, time working from your house or from your home office based at home, and then going to the office maybe once or twice per week. So if you want to go back to the office full time, we have a system in place where you have to pre-book your location in the office, and then be there. So, but they're being very flexible with this now. In terms of candidates, we don't meet candidates face to face. We meet them either on Microsoft Teams, or we do let's say WhatsApp chat with them if they don't use MS Teams. We can use LinkedIn. We can use so many different platforms to talk to candidates. It doesn't have to be on camera. It could be by voice, but we prefer to see our candidates when we screen them. And then, we also, we ask them if they want to work remotely or, partly from the office and from the house. So it depends on the candidate. Some candidates don't want to be at home. They're sick of being at home. They're tired. They want to go back and interact with the people, with their office mates. So we give them the choice. But again, they have to follow, the rules that Ausenco has set with this pandemic. Yeah.
Right. So thoughts on kind of when things start opening up, because there's been so many stories about resistance from workers wanting to go back, who has the authority to bring employees back. Do you know what it's going to look like for your organization after the pandemic has kind of subsided?
Yeah, they've sent out an email. They're going to be flexible. So like I said earlier, they're going to give you a choice of, fully coming back to the office or, dividing your time between home office and, the actual office. So I don't think they're going to be strict on getting back to the office, like full time. Yeah.
So it's
like you said, some people are still worried about this pandemic. Some people are afraid to go back to offices. So yeah, they're being really, really flexible, which is good.
So it's going to be at the choice of the employee then.
Yes,
that's good. That's good. Yeah, it seems like the split right now from our surveys is that about a third are working from home all the time. A third are working from an office or warehouse, like think of an Amazon kind of company, and then a third are having a hybrid model. So it's really interesting. There was a story that came out yesterday about Apple employees. Kind of saying, look, we're not coming back when Apple is saying yes. So this is the US. So, all right. So number 3 on the list is improving employee mental health and wellness. Obviously, this has been a big issue over the last year. Are you finding more candidates are asking about what mental health and wellness programs might be available, or have you tweaked anything since the pandemic hit as a result of these issues?
Well, let me talk about Ausenco. Ausenco provides, mental health, let's say help, if you want, or aid through MS Teams. So we have, I think they've, talked to third party, and every week there's a session for about an hour for the Ausenco employees, which I find really helpful. Yeah, it's quite helpful, and it helps a lot of people, and they can ask, questions at the end. That's
great. Are you generally, aside from your company, your business or whatever, but what would you suggest that other recruiters do or think about perhaps along the mental health and wellness side? Do you have some suggestions, some tips? Not so much what you're doing, but what you think companies should be doing?
I think they should be checking, on their employees all the time, to be honest, and helping them join different programs, like Ausenco's doing, just to give them a relief. Yeah. Okay,
terrific. So number 4 on the list is creating better employee engagement. So, maintaining employee engagement among staff when they're not at an office, people who live alone, employees who live alone. Some ideas that have come up, scheduling casual Zoom meetings with employees. There's been some companies that have hired comedians to be on Zoom calls. Some companies have hired or have engaged mentors and partners for employees to check in on each other. Anything that you would suggest companies should do, or anything that, best practices on your end that has worked for you?
Nothing that comes to mind, to be honest, at the moment, Marc. Yeah.
No. Okay. So number 5 is company perks. So, and if you're just joining, my name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. And we're going over just the top 10 best practices for hiring in 2021, and just having a great conversation here, just talking about the different areas that would be, might be something that would be relevant in today's world. And I'm here with Sammy, Shuheibar, talent acquisition specialist, global projects at Ausenco here in the Greater Toronto area. So next up is updating company perks. So what this was, and the idea here was about employees' needs are changing. if they're working from home. So, for example, companies' benefits that may have been applicable when everybody's at the office are no longer applicable. We talked about mental health and wellness. Some companies are enhancing their benefits for people working from home. For example, giving them $1 credit to purchase new desks or chairs, reimbursing internet, adopting the benefit plan because issues aren't the same as they were a year and a half ago. What are your thoughts on that? In terms of companies changing that, anything best practices that you've seen, any ideas that you have as well?
To be honest, I recently joined Ausenco, like I mentioned earlier, so I have not seen that yet here, but I'm sure they have something in place. But like you mentioned, it's very important that companies, do push their employees to, or they give them like extra perks in joining like these. I've seen online gyms, for example. I'm not sure if this is in Canada, but I've seen it in Europe. Their employees are joining, online sessions that are, fully paid by their company. They can go on these mental health, programs that's also paid by the company. Like you said, they can help them with their internet, connections, with purchasing like comfortable desks, chairs. Yeah, so that's quite important. It's very important. It also shows or helps with employee retention.
For sure. Doing things now that will help retention in the future, for sure. What's your number one maybe issue or maybe issue that you're trying to resolve that you feel is a hot topic right now in the recruiting world, talent acquisition, and so on?
People are candidates. I'm sure other recruiters have faced this. Candidates are reluctant in moving or changing jobs at the moment because of the pandemic. They're worried. They're worried because it's like last in, first out. People are talking about this last in, first out issue now in the market, and it's very difficult to attract people to move. Even if the pay is quite high, if the benefits are really good, people are just reluctant. Even if they're moving, within the same city, let's say, or province, they're reluctant, and it's quite difficult. It takes a lot of talent from a recruiter to really push a candidate or convince a candidate to change jobs.
Yeah. And is that translating into just difficulty trying to recruit in general, or are you finding that there's still lots of candidates out there? There's 1.6 million or 1.6 million. Yeah, go ahead. Sammy.
It's difficult. I think what we're finding, candidates are basically agreeing in the beginning, but during the process, they just pull out for some reason. Not all, but it's common. This is common now. It's been common for the last, I would say, 8 months.
Right. One of the studies, and I don't know the numbers offhand, but one of the studies that we found is that one of the hooks that recruiters had before the pandemic was trying to get somebody a job closer to home. And that would cut down their commuting time. And people were so open to that, especially, those have been commuting 45 minutes an hour each way, and the traffic and congestion, especially in the Greater Toronto area. But now that hook is gone because there's over 5 million people in Canada working from home. So that hook is gone. So, and then what's the next thing? Might be compensation. Well, compensation, if you're at home and you're saving money and you can't spend money because you can't go traveling, like what difference does a few dollars make for those kind of people as well? And maybe for the professional staff as well, that you have engineers that you're recruiting, they're like, well, I don't know, it doesn't, what's going to matter to me? So two primary hooks, compensation and location, are now gone with the pandemic. So what's the next hook? What's the hook? Maybe promotion, maybe opportunity for more work or broader, more interesting work. But companies got to be very creative. Have you found that as well?
Depends. It's difficult. No matter how much you try with a candidate these days, regardless of, if it's an increase in pay, promotion, people are afraid. They're afraid. And the higher they move up the ladder, they get more worried, because the first people are to let go are the top positions, as you know, because, especially if they're overhead positions. So if you're not billing for your company, especially in the engineering world, we always use the term billing. So if you're not billing to the client and the company is making money out of this billing rate, the overhead people are the first to be let go, and they don't want to move up the ladder, and nothing is really convincing them. But to be honest, here in Ausenco, we're very, very busy, and I'm not finding it difficult to get people to change jobs, because maybe we are in the mining and metal industry, and this industry today is quite booming. It's not only booming in Canada or the US, but in Latin America and Australia. So yeah, it's back on track. It's really high in demand.
That's good. Good to hear. So number 6 on the list is automating as much of your recruiting process as possible. So some companies have used the pandemic to kind of redevelop their entire recruiting process. For example, Amazon has made their recruiting process for some shift workers all automated, to the point that there's never an actual interview. The person just shows up for their shift. Like, the whole process is automated. There's Robot Vera. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's Russian. She can make thousands of calls a day. She doesn't take breaks. She can do 50,000 interviews daily. She can answer questions. She works 24 hours a day. She never has to attend meetings. She doesn't need to sleep. She speaks 68 languages, including English, Russian, and Arabic. So have you thought, I know you're someone new to Ausenco, but have you seen some technological changes that you think you might want to share, or perhaps that has made a difference for you?
Well, as a recruiter, there are a lot of recruiting it's not easy. It's a hectic job. So, people, who don't know what a recruiter's life is, behind the scenes. So there's a lot of admin work, So I will tell you what we do in Ausenco. So I was really, surprised and quite happy with what Ausenco has implemented in terms of automation for a talent acquisition specialist. So I can say that, if we want to engage with, a candidate, the first step would be, we have, a software called Spark Hire. So this is a one-way interview where, we set a couple of questions where the hiring manager would like the candidate to answer. We can send that over by an email, and everything's automated. The candidate answers, the 5 questions or 4 questions that the hiring manager would like to have. And this is the first step in sending, the video once it's done to the hiring manager. And, it gets the selection process easier. So it's easier to eliminate candidates and, pick the right candidate. And even the, reference check process is done through a software called, skill survey. So everything's automated. The recruiter saves a lot of time. Back in the day, you used to pick up the phone and, you have to call each and every referee and so this is like a lengthy process. And just imagine when you have like 40, 50 candidates on your desk, it's not possible to, So it saves a lot of time for the recruiter. We also have, so for the reference checking, everything's automated. You just put in the email of the address of the candidate. They receive an email. They do everything. They fill out their referee names, their positions, their relationship with the referee, and their email address, and it often goes to the referees. The referees fill out the forms online. Then the recruiter gets a notification once this is done, and a report is generated and goes to the hiring manager for review and feedback. We also use cognitive and personality testing through Hire Select. So again, this is also you just select the test that you want the candidate to perform depending on their role, and whether they're a native English language speaker or not. And everything's done automated. It saves a lot of time. So these 3 applications that I've seen in Ausenco are really amazing, really, really amazing.
Excellent. So you might just want to repeat the ones that you said. So I caught Hire Select.
Yes, Hire Select is for the cognitive and personality testing. We have a Spark Hire, which is one-way or two-way interviews for candidates to answer questions that the hiring managers have asked us as recruitment, to get them to answer. We also have a skill survey. That's a software that's used for automated reference checking. So these 3 tools are absolutely amazing for a recruiter, and they save a lot of time, really a lot of time.
For sure. What about education? Education checks.
No, we don't really do that. I mean, I think maybe HR does that on the side, but for us as I'm talking just pure recruitment. But once it goes to HR, maybe there's something else happens in the background. But we do reference checking, the cognitive and personality testing, and of course the one-way or two-way video screening. I used to do the the educational background checks and sometimes security checks, depending on the role. But that was not in Ausenco. I've done it like in Hill International. When I had my own agency, that was done for sure. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Jane Chessman has a question here. Do you find that the CRB extension or EI has impacted the number of people applying for entry-level jobs? And how can we make candidates feel more safe to returning to the workplace, especially for industrial positions where work from home is not possible?
I'm not too aware of the industrial, to be honest, of the industrial world. So my main domain is engineering and construction, but is he referring to the trades?
Well, I mean, I think you can apply it to really anything. Just, just generally, how can we make candidates feel more safe returning to the workplace, regardless of whether they're working in an office or in a plant or a warehouse or otherwise?
You mean in terms of precautionary measures for COVID?
Yeah. How can you make them feel more safe? Yeah.
Well, I think people are still worried about this, like getting closer to each other when they're talking, that distance. So they're still keeping at least 2 meters apart. That's what I see everywhere, wherever I go, whether it's supermarket or, on the road, or people when they talk, to each other, they're talking from window to window in the cars, so they keep that distance. They're really worried, and they're wearing masks everywhere. But to answer his question, I believe, like Ausenco is doing now, you need a system in place where you have the sanitizers at the entrance, the masks maybe, when you're in meetings to keep that 2 meter distance, to have the people, the employees, when they're sitting opposite each other in desks, not to have them opposite to each other. So, you can have the person opposite you or the desk opposite to you is going to be empty. That's maybe in the office, but inside or on site, it's going to be like open air, right? So I don't think there'll be an issue there, but definitely just keep on sanitizing whenever you need to, and keep on the mask on your face for precautionary measures.
Yeah, good points. Melissa Schaefer just asking again, what is the reference checking software name? So I think you said Skills Survey for the software for automated reference checking. There was Spark Hire, and there was Hire Select, right? Those were the three that you had mentioned, right? Okay, terrific. So number 7 on the list, we have about 5 minutes left here. Number 7, looking at across Canada and around the world for employees. If there's one thing that's happened with the pandemic, it's kind of dropped that must be within half an hour commute of the location. People working from home, maybe indefinitely, as we've talked about. Have you used that strategy? Have you kind of said, hey, look, like it doesn't matter if somebody's from Halifax or BC, if they're going to work from home, they're going to work from home. And have you expanded that, and how has that worked for you so far?
It doesn't matter at the moment in Ausenco. We have offices in Toronto, in Burlington. We have offices in Vancouver and Calgary, but we also have employees who work from Montreal. We don't have an office in Montreal, so we always welcome the remote work. We don't have issues with remote work, and we don't only look for employees within Canada. We look for employees international. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. So number 9 on the list is training your line managers on interviewing virtually or practicing, and it's one thing that I've seen line managers. They're struggling with doing proper interviews, the lighting, the noise, the camera work. It's one thing when they're in an office and there's other people around and so on. So have you given your line managers coaching or any tips of how to, make sure to do a proper video interviews, or any tips that you would want to share with other people watching?
Most of our line managers, it's quiet at home because their kids have already grown up and they've, they're either in college or moved out. But I haven't faced this issue, to be honest, unless they have a pet or the pet suddenly, jumps on the desk or something. But otherwise, we haven't had that issue at all. Everything is fine, and they know what to do and how to secure, like a room where there's no noise or a limited noise, and with good lighting inside. Yeah, they're good at that actually.
Terrific. Okay, and then
we use MS Teams, so all the interview scheduling is happening through MS Teams, and we have our marketing department comes up with amazing backgrounds with Ausenco offices or pictures from Ausenco offices around the world. So if I'm interviewing a candidate, so what a candidate sees is the Ausenco office behind me. They don't see a blank wall like now. So some people have asked me, "Are you in the office?" And I'm like, "No, this is just a background that we use." Yeah.
Terrific. Okay, and then the final point is making things more visual. With LinkedIn and videos and interviews and LinkedIn and all the social media. Have you made your job descriptions more visual? Have you had your line managers do recordings, anything like that, or any suggestions that you want to share?
Absolutely. Candidates are tired of the typical old-fashioned advertisements of jobs or roles. So I came up, me and my line manager, who's based in Tucson, Arizona. I don't know if he's watching us now, but anyways, hello, Andy, if you're watching. We came up with an amazing idea that, video, like the hiring manager or a senior engineer from the site, filming him or herself, with a 1 or 2 minute video, just explaining, their life at Ausenco, what the job site is all about and how's life at the site and the safety measures that go on. Because, Ausenco is number one with safety. Safety is everything to Ausenco, especially we're in the mining industry. So we add these videos to our LinkedIn adverts or, through our job, board, which is Taleo. So yeah, if you see some adverts have a general story about Ausenco and how Ausenco started 30 years ago, and some have videos from hiring managers or the global VPs, around Ausenco in the world, and some have videos of senior engineers, talking about the site and their life at Ausenco. Yeah,
excellent.
It does attract a lot of talent. To be honest, it does attract people.
Excellent. We just have any 30 seconds to wrap things up. Anything I haven't asked you or you thought about, hey, I should mention this as well? No? Anything else, Sammy?
I'm good. Everything is good. If our viewers have any questions for now, yeah, they can go ahead.
Perfect. So thanks, Sammy, for sharing your thoughts over the last half hour. Thanks to everybody who's come to the Canadian Virtual Recruiters Conference today, presented by TorontoJobs.ca and TorontoEntrepreneurs.ca and powered by EventLogic with a K.ca. My name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. I want to thank Sammy Shuheibar, talent acquisition specialist, global projects at Ausenco. And I want to just thank some of our sponsors and exhibitors today, TorontoJobs.ca. If you have any staffing needs, you can post the jobs on our job board. You can search our resume database, email sales@TorontoJobs.ca or text 289-206-1651. Payroll Funding Canada offers the most cost-effective rates in the market with the dependability, reliability, and the personal service you would expect from a major bank. Allows you to focus on what you do best and grow your business. talesfromtherecruiter.ca. Check out my book. It's available at talesfromtherecruiter.ca. You can read it online. And also Guhuza, Guhuza. It's a new recruitment platform that's coming soon. And if you'd like to have your organization and services highlighted, we have speaker, sponsor, and exhibitor options available. Please reach out to the team at EventLogic with a K.ca. And upcoming events, we've got Thursday, June 17th, webinar, Best Practices for Recruiting Staff in 2021. I'm going to put the links in the event chat here right now. And then on Wednesday, June 23rd, we have the Canadian Virtual HR Conference that you might want to come out to. Friday, June 25th, the Canadian Employment Law Conference. And then finally on Tuesday, June 29th, TorontoJobs.ca presents the Virtual Career Fair. If you are looking for staff, you might want to come check that out. And you can check out EventLogic.ca for sponsorship and exhibitor options as well. And I had previously put up the links to our YouTube channels and also our LinkedIn groups. You might want to check that out. The LinkedIn group called Recruiters Unite in Toronto is always very popular. And connect with me on LinkedIn as well. If there's anything I can help you out with, I'll put my LinkedIn link on the chat button as well. How did you like the event? Let us know. We'll send you a survey within the next 24 hours with a link. Let us know how you liked it, didn't like it. I want to thank all the speakers, the panelists today, and the team, Alex, Rachel, Sandra, Sarah, Carla, and many more involved behind the scenes. And by the way, we're also looking to hire for our recruiting team, sales, business development, account executive, as well as director of the recruiting division as well. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. As I mentioned earlier, we do tack on an extra 10 minutes at the end of this event. So you still have some time to network through our speed networking area. You can visit our expo area to find out products and services that can help you. And I want to thank you for coming. And again, Sammy, thanks very much, and see you at our next event. And as always, if there's anything I can help you with, don't hesitate to ask. And thank you all for coming today at today's event.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Marc.
Thanks, Sammy.